All right, welcome to the deep dive. Today we are taking a magnifying glass to a really specific piece of hardware that solves some major headaches in the AV world. We're talking about the Aurora Multimedia LXC-1-G2 control port expansion box.
Yeah, and this is one of those deep dives where we want to understand how a seemingly small piece of hardware can actually represent a huge strategic advantage. Our mission today is really to see how this little box bridges old control ports to modern IP networks and, why its compliance features are so important.
And we have to start right there with that strategic edge. The sources immediately call this a low-cost, high-performance IP to port expander.
Hmm.
But then they list these three things: TAA, compliant, made in the USA, and tariff-free. That's not just a spec sheet, that's a business case.
It's a massive business case. It's an instant advantage for anyone bidding on, say, government or big university projects. But before we get lost in the compliance side, let's talk about what it actually does, this whole control port expansion thing. Why do we still need these?
Is it just a stopgap? A compromise for devices that aren't on the network yet?
I'd say it's mandatory. It's about reliability and integrating with gear that's already installed. You have countless projectors, screens, lifts. They only speak these basic physical signals. The LXC-1G2 gives you the vocabulary to talk to all of them. Specifically, you're getting one serial port, one IR port, and then crucially, two C-type relay ports and two digital I/O ports.
Okay, right. Let's unpack that a little for everyone. Serial and IR, we get that. That's for older projectors, basic device functions. But the C-type relays and the digital I/O, what are you actually doing with those in the real world?
Ah, that's your environmental control. A C-type relay is great because it's a changeover contact, so it can handle both normally open and normally closed logic. Think motorized screens, shades, projector lifts, and the digital I/O lets you read a simple state, like a door sensor or a switch. It turns a physical action into network data.
So this tiny box, it's what, 4.5 inches wide and runs on just 3 watts, is doing all this high-level translation. So what's under the hood? What's the architecture that's powerful enough to manage all that?
It's running on a 32-bit RISC processor. And really, the key takeaway isn't the exact clock speed. It's what that processor enables when you pair it with its networking. It's got a 10100 LAN port with power over Ethernet, PoE.
And PoE is the big convenience factor, right?
Yeah.
One cable for data and power.
Exactly. It makes installation so much cleaner. And that processor lets the box act like a mini server. It's Telnet and TCP controlled, sure, but it has an integrated web server. You can configure the whole thing from a web browser, and even better, it has a micro SD card slot. It supports over 4 gigs of storage, so you can host your own custom web control pages right on the device.
Now, so the control interface lives right on the box itself. Matt, speaking of deployment, there is one really crucial detail in the source material we have to mention, the kind of thing that trips people up.
The power supply, that's the one. While it runs on PoE, if you do need to plug it in with a dedicated power source, the power supply is not included. You have to order it separately. A classic. Gotcha.
That is a really good clarification. Okay, so let's circle back to the money. The price is about $458, and we have that TAA compliance. For our audience, what is the real strategic value of having TAA compliant and made in the USA on a product like this?
It's a gate opener. It's that simple. The Trade Agreements Act, or TAA, basically requires U.S. government agencies to buy products made in specific approved countries. So if you're designing a system for a federal building, a military base, what the source calls government purchasing, your device must be TAA compliant. This one is, and it's also cost effective. It checks all the boxes.
So at the end of the day, you've got this triple threat. It gives you deep control over all your legacy ports, you get simple IP integration with PoE, and you have that must-have government compliance, all in one compact, efficient package.
Exactly. And that leaves me with a final thought for you to chew on. Considering this device has a built-in web server and all that micro SD storage, how long until devices like this stop being just expanders and start becoming the independent primary controllers in distributed systems? The architecture is, it's pretty much already